This week I'd like to round out our exploration of Google extensions, add-ons, and apps by looking at some general purpose apps that can help you in the Drive environment. And let's get started. First, of course, we would go to the web store. And the first couple of apps or extensions we're going to look at are just quick ways to do things that you can already do. So I'm going to search for Quick Add Calendar, and you'll see that it comes up right up on top. Quick Add Create Calendar Events. You can also see that I've already got it installed. So let's get right on and see how you use it. It's up. It's right here, and when I click on it, I can add directly to my calendar. Now the trick here is to know what to type in. So I'm going to say practice event 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Let's make this 11, 14, 16, and say add. Okay, so it's going to bring me here. You can see it's 11:14, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. practice event. So it's got everything I need here. If I want to add additional information, such as a description or a location, I can do that here and simply say save. And if I were to look there, practice event is already on my calendar. Okay, so it basically saves you the trouble of having to open up your calendar in order to add an event. And that may seem like a small thing, but honestly, I don't believe it is. There's a lot of times things come up and I just quickly want to get something on the calendar, and saving those couple of clicks is satisfying, if nothing else. Okay, let's go back to web apps for a second. And what I'm going to look for now, I'm going to do a search for Quick Create. And you'll see there's another that I've added. There's two here that do the same job. This is rated a little higher, and from my experience, it works very, very well. So Google Docs Quick Create. And you can see that it is installed up here. It has the same symbol as this. So when I click on it, basically it's just going to allow me to create a new document, spreadsheet, presentation, drawing, or form right from the main toolbar. So if I'm used to working in Google Docs a lot, it again saves me the trouble of needing to go in and to get into Docs before I start working. Now, beware that you are going to have to be logged in somewhere. So many of us are logged into Google account all the time, but it is going to revert to the Google account that you are logged into at this time. Also, if I were to save it right now, or if I were to close it right now, rather, let me just get out to Drive here. And go to last modified as a search, you'll notice that it saves it right at the root level. So let me try that again and see if there's a way I can correct that if I don't want it there. This time I'll make a sheet, and I'll call it sample sheet. But before I close this, right from within Sheets, I can do a move to. This can be a tad confusing because I don't want to actually click on my drive. That's just going to open up my drive. What I want to click on is move this item. Okay, and then I can mouse over, go to my drive. Let's just put it in that Intech folder. Another thing is I can't just click on the folder. I do have to come over and click on the little caret or arrow that appears on the right, and then I can move it there. So in that case, I wouldn't have needed to even open Drive. There it is, sample sheet. Okay, I'm going to delete that before we move on to our next application. Now I'd like to go back to the store and search for something called Notes for Google Drive. You can see here's the icon. It's already been installed up in the upper right hand corner. And this is a very simple application that lets you make notes for yourself on the fly. So it's an organizational tool, but what these three tools have in common is the quick access to the Google space right from that toolbar. So if I click here, you'll see I don't have any notes yet, but if I click the pencil, I'm starting a note. So this will be write review and submit review. Okay, so I've written some notes to myself. I have some very simple formatting things that I can do to this. So I could make it bold, I could make it italics. Under color, I could set the foreground color. So here I'll make it kind of a purplish, you can see. And I can also set the background color, so give it more or less a highlight if I wanted. I can turn it into a numbered, bulleted list or a numbered list or no list at all. And note that it takes the name of the note from the first line of the text. So what I'd like to do is ensure that the first line is actually the title that I want to appear on a note. Now if I needed a second note, you can see it'll just appear right here. If I'm done with the note, if I don't want it anymore, I simply hit the trash can. And if I want a new one, I hit the pencil. So very simple, quick application, just handy while you're working because it's so accessible and so easy to use. Next, I'd like to look at a slightly more complex application, and it's got the worst name in the world. It's called Capture, Explain, and Send Screenshots. But if you just search for Capture, Explain, it should come up to the top of your list. As before, you can see that I've already added it. This is the icon up here. And in order to use it, I'm going to switch out to a website because that's really what it does. I'm on a web page here, and let's say this is interesting to me. I want to share it with somebody, but I want to also give them my ideas about it. So when I'm on this page, I can click that button. It's going to allow me to grab a selected area, grab the visible page, so what I can see on my screen at this point. You can adjust that by scrolling. Grab the entire page. So it will go and get this entire page no matter how far it has to scroll down. Grab the entire screen. So that's not just the page, but my toolbars here. So maybe if you wanted to include the web address up here, you might want to do that. And there are three other great options here. Grab clipboard, clipboard and crop, and open file, but we'll look at those a little later. So let's work with the web page to start with. I could grab just a section of it, but I'm going to say grab the entire page just to show you how that works. It'll take a few minutes. So it's scrolling down. Unfortunately, it's grabbing some of the content I don't want. But that's the way it works. So you can see now the entire web page has been grabbed. And if I want to annotate this, my tools are right up here. So one thing I can do is I can change the color of whatever I'm using. So I've changed it to this reddish color. And I just want to circle that, point an arrow to it, and then using the text write somebody a message. Okay, you can see that it's got great options for annotating. Let's go through them. You've got the circle or oval tool, which I just used. You also have a rectangular type of tool that you can use. So if I want to call attention to the site itself, I could do that. You've got arrows, which you've seen. You've also got lines that you can draw right on the page. You can draw freehand, a little hard with a mouse, but it can be done. The text tool, which we've already seen. And you see when you click on each tool, you'll get the options. So here's the font I can use, the size, and whether it's transparent or white, black, none, semi-transparent. So as you click on each of these tools, you'll see different options available. So this is a line weight, how thick that line is going to be. Same for the rectangle tool. Same for the arrow and the line and the freehand drawing. When you get to the text, you have those options we just looked at. You've also got a highlighter tool, which doesn't really come with too many options. But we can highlight that, and actually maybe I want to change the color of the highlighter a little bit. And yeah, I want to leave that semi-transparent if it's going to be highlighting. So, sorry, highlighter. Okay, so basic tools. You can zoom in or out if it makes it easier for you to do your work. Of course, this is now an image, so the text and the pictures will tend to get a little more blurry if you're not at the proper zoom. Also, there is an undo key here and a redo key. So the undo key that I just used got rid of that last highlight, so I can get rid of my work using these, or I could just restart, and that's going to bring me back to my original image. Now, some tools we haven't looked at yet that are available to you here. There's the crop tool. That's going to reduce my image just to that particular piece that I cropped. So I've lost the rest of the image when I do this. This is also the delete section. So it would be possible for me to come into this image and carefully delete some portion of it using the delete button. And that could be useful if you have a document that happens to have some sensitive information on it that you don't want to share, but has some information on it that you do want to share. Okay, when that is done, you do have these undo and redo buttons, so if you've made a mistake, you can backtrack a little bit. You do have a restart, which would allow you to go back to the original image. So there you go. And when you're done, you simply click Done, and it gives you various options. Now, some of these options are easier to use than others. Explanations do exist in how to use them, so I could simply just download it. Now I'm going to get this as a JPEG, so a picture file, and I can put it on my computer anywhere I want. I can save to drive, so if I click this, it's going to ask me to install this other extension, but then I'll be able to install directly into Drive as long as I'm logged in. It's going to allow me to copy the picture, and copying isn't really a function of itself, it's a set of explanations. So you're going to hit copy image and then Control V into an email or social media. If you do want a link, you can say I prefer a link to this, and it's going to take you to more instructions. Upload. Alright, so you want to upload here. It's going to recommend that you don't actually use this message in a second, but that it's going to upload to this imgur.com and get you a link there, if that's what you want. Personally, I would usually either save it to Drive or save it to my computer. There is an option to open it directly in Pixlr, which is an online editing software, free and ad supported, and you can pay for the pro version to remove the ads. And that gives you more capabilities of what you can edit on the image if you really want. And the sharing is somewhat limited. What they're basically saying is to copy the image and then paste it into social media, etc. I have to believe that perhaps they're looking to build out this functionality later, but it's not currently available. There's also a PDF option. Click the Open button, go to Chrome, Print, and Save. So they're using Chrome there to create this as a PDF, if that's what you want. Okay, you can also return using this arrow to the edit. So if you've said you're done, but you realize that there's some other edit you want to make, you can go back here and continue to make edits. And I'd say those are the basics for Capture, Explain, and Send Screenshots. Nice little tool. I hope you find it useful.